Il pastore è la responsabilità che garantisce all'uomo il rispetto delle leggi naturali. Esistono spazi per essere attraversati, esistono spazi per essere coltivati. Il pastore deve conoscere e rispettare queste leggi, che poi fanno parte del conflitto sociale tra il pastore e l'agricoltore. Il pastore conosce e rispetta la crescita del proprio gregge, perché gli porterà serenità.
Nene!
While working in the fields with my family in the farm, I always been running in an archaeological feature or a cave settlement or a fresco. So I've always been curious about where all these artifacts, all this art and archaeological features came from, which culture were related to.
When we started to dig this tomb in 1994, there was one of those typical holes from the looters, right? And we said, oh, it's okay, it's gone. We won't find anything. And inside, we found 28 pieces of pottery still in situ. The most beautiful, emotional experience that I ever had while working in archaeology. The feeling of discovering something intact, and probably they are somewhere in the Metropolitan or the British Museum. Yeah.
Tonio's taken us to archaeological sites that are completely exposed. There's rubbish on them. They're not guarded. They're not protected or anything. I don't know. I guess they're interesting to us because we don't grow up with them. You know, there are no caves with frescoes in them in the UK that I know of. So to us, they're exotic and strange and beautiful.
This place has been used until the 1980s, when the farmer that is now in the house over here, he still owns this place.
What's this here?
I have no idea.
A nail.
I don't think it's a nail.
And then what's this here?
I don't know.
And this is the same as this. It's all got chewed up.
Yeah, it did.
Allora, una volta tu era il proprietario di questa... Sì. Quanto anni fa?
Noi qua stiamo da 50 anni.
Sì. E quando l'avete venduta?
L'abbiamo comprato
E poi l'avete venduta
al comune.
al comune.
Quando abbiamo avuto il terremoto a Potenza,
A Potenza, sì.
in quei tempi.
Ti manca un po' questa proprietà?
Molto.
Sì? Ti piacerebbe averla ancora?
Ci sono che erano 4-5 fratelli, si discuteva.
Ah. E chi è questo santo che è proprio vicino a Gesù?
Poi sarebbe San Giuseppe,
Questo è San Giuseppe.
quella sarebbe la Madonna.
Sì.
E qui in mezzo era Gesù.
Sì, sì. Arrivavano dall'estero la gente a vedere.
Sì. Adesso non viene più nessuno.
Viene più nessuno.
È tutto chiuso.
E perché?
E se ne va.
E perché non vengono più a vedere?
È chiuso.
Ah, il cancello è chiuso. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao. Buona giornata.
Grazie, a voi stesso.
He was talking about them as if he knew them really well. And earlier on, he told us that there's a baptism font in this church. And I think he must have seen children being baptized there. The way the way he was talking about it.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Presumably, he would have been their tour guide in a sense, so he's lost a job, yeah, because of those gates being locked.
And part of his identity.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that sense of proprietorship, which
Yeah.
I think is what a place like this needs desperately.
Yeah. Which is kind of ironic, since that was the whole point of doing the work with the restoration here,
Yeah.
was to bring it back into the community. But then there are all these locks on the doors and they can't get in, and he can't get in either anymore.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I go around any of these places, like, if this was Britain, it would be run by, the National Trust or something, and you'd be able to come in and look at it, and then you'd be able to go and have a nice cup of tea afterwards. But it would be preserved, and it would be known, and it would be a destination that people go to. Which again, maybe that's not really what you want to do, because actually this is more than just that. It is a church. But at least it would be preserved and people would know about it. Whereas now it's like we come in and look at it, but only because we've got special access. So that's a shame.
Okay, watch your head over here.
So they gave you permission to do
Yes,
all of this.
yeah.
But then in the end, when you wanted to have a contract, they wouldn't give you that contract.
No, exactly. And the thing is that I have demonstrated that it's possible. It's
Yeah.
not like I did the proposal and then, nothing happened.
You had proof.
I approved 15 years of work with results so evident.
my favorite gelato place in Gravina.
Do you come here with Papa? Yeah? What does Papa do? What does he do? What is his work?
Art restoration.
Art restoration. Wow. Has he taught you a lot about art restoration?
Yes.
Yes?
Dopo aver fatto diverse amicizie nell'ambito dei programmi di archeologia, avevo pensato che sarebbe stato opportuno, insomma, esplorare altre realtà. Spostandomi da una città all'altra, da Los Angeles, poi Messico, poi San Francisco e Vancouver, e Toronto e Boston e New York. Quando sono arrivato a New York ho realizzato che erano 3 mesi che mancavo da casa. Ho telefonato a casa perché era un po' di tempo che non chiamavo casa e mia madre mi ha detto "Waglio", means "Hey dude", ma usega m'accogli l'ali. Do you know it's the time to harvest the olives? Ho realizzato che era il momento e quindi ho pensato che, dato che non ero fatto per stare nel mondo, avrei trovato una soluzione per far sì che il mondo potesse venire da me. Ed è stato così che l'anno successivo, nel 95, ho organizzato il primo campo di lavoro, il primo workshop a Masseria Iesce.
Il progetto si chiamava Eutropia. Eutropia è il nome di una città immaginaria in un libro di uno scrittore italiano, Italo Calvino, la città degli scambi, dove la gente si incontra e si scambia le esperienze, si scambiano i lavori. Io insieme a Tony abbiamo avuto altre esperienze di ricostruzione di muretti a secco, di manutenzione degli affreschi, di pulizia delle grotte. Per 15 anni abbiamo lavorato in questo sito, quindi abbiamo acquisito una certa esperienza e anche ci siamo appassionati sempre di più.
So we start to do projects together and then everything evolved from then. I had the chance to work twice at the site of Masseria Iesce, and I realized that there was a very interesting historical and archaeological stratification there.
Well, you get to see the frescoes in churches. So, all the public, the churches that aren't in caves also have frescoes. So I reckon that if you grow up living in that neighborhood, frescoes are just ordinary, aren't they? The idea of maintaining and protecting archaeological and historical sites doesn't seem to be a high priority.
The city hall and everybody at the time was busy with facing other emergencies. I believe for me that was an emergency as well.
You worked for 14 years without an official agreement with the municipality.
Right.
Buonasera! Che profumo di bellezza! Si può respirare. Permettetemi che vi presenti Tire-Bouchon e i suoi manoscritti, le sue pergamene.
Merci. E invece a me date l'onore di presentarvi il mitico, inevitabile, inconfondibile Caracarton e il suo Ghigno.
What was interesting is the fact that we had, as organization, the keys not in an official way, because we didn't have even the contracts to be on the site, but we were the referral for any kind of activities. Not having an official paper saying that we had the key was something that was kept like, something that nobody should know, but everybody knew.
Sentite!
So it's a system. And that's the pattern. That's one of the patterns I was talking before. So why to have spend all this energy in figuring out who is going to have the keys while while it's completely much easier just to give the responsibility to an organization or to a group of people and have them taking care of the site.
Permessi, amministrazione, non si sa mai a chi bisogna chiedere. Il problema dei siti archeologici o comunque dell'Italia in generale è che ci sono troppe fasi, troppe persone che decidono e troppe poche persone capaci di decidere e in grado di o comunque competenti.
Which is weird, isn't it? Because, you know, people go to Italy particularly for the antiquity.
Il problema è proprio questo, che la grande quantità di materiale che spesso viene fuori durante le campagne di scavo non viene studiato contemporaneamente agli scavi stessi. Quindi molto spesso ci si trova di fronte a questo problema, che è quello di avere così tanti materiali, di avere questi grossi musei pieni di così tanti materiali, che bisognerebbe, come dire, fermare un po' gli scavi per poter approfondire gli studi e quindi di conseguenza riuscire a delineare un quadro come dire, più chiaro di quella che è stata sia la colonizzazione, insomma, della Magna Grecia, sia di tutta quella che era la realtà che precedeva l'occupazione greca, sino ad arrivare, insomma, a quella romana, medievale e quant'altro.
Money were spent, for example, to restore historical buildings and to create a hypothetical museum or cultural center, but there was no plan for the management of this project after the restoration was completed.
Quindi ti ritrovi magari in musei gestiti da persone che non capiscono niente di quello che stanno facendo, però che sono nella posizione di poter comandare, quindi tolgono magari posto e possibilità.
What we were asking was the contract for working on the site for 20 years, 30 years, and have the opportunity, the possibility of investing and creating what we were aiming to. And the answer never arrived.
Se correttamente utilizzati, avrebbero potuto rendere di più di quello che stanno facendo. Muoiono, l'archeologia muore.
How are you?
Good, ma pizza per festa, no? Ogni volta. Questa non è per festa. Ben per festa. Questa non è per festa. C'è una dei partecipanti, che devono vedere i cucchiai.
Go for a cappuccino. I don't want to insist. I mean, it's something that...
Well, when you guys go down to the front.
I'm happy. I'm happy all these days. But it's because Emar Donato Laborante, we met in 1994 in Perugia in very curious circumstances. And since we met, we were from Altamura, but we never met before. And in Perugia, I was looking for a place to stay for free for 3-4 nights because I went to the Umbria Jazz Festival.
C'era Umbria Jazz e io ero il presidente di Umbria Cats.
Umbria Cats, it's a transliteration of being drunk. Because Donato used to drink a lot.
Allora, that's it. Per 7 anni mi diceva, vieni a Iesce, vieni a Iesce.
But he knew that what he knows, for 7 years I was telling him, since we met, come to Iesce, come to Iesce, come to Iesce.
E io non venivo a Iesce.
And he wouldn't come.
Un giorno venni a Iesce.
One day he came to Iesce.
E mettemmo in piedi uno spettacolo.
And in this place was born Ferro la Ferita, the name of the theater company that Donato and I set up at the time.
Yes. Ma dopo, come quando incontriamo dei posti che hanno molta luce,
And after, like we always do when we meet in a place where there's a lot of lights,
ci allontaniamo.
we step back a little bit because the light is too bright.
Partiamo.
And then we go away.
Andiamo lontani.
And
Perché sappiamo che la luce fa paura.
Because the light sometimes is
La luce
frightening.
acceca.
Sometimes the light makes you blind.
La conversione di San Paolo.
Caravaggio, the conversion of St. Paul.
Caravaggio. Thanks. E allora così poi la luce ti permette di incontrare l'amore, di incontrare tanti amori.
But then light gives you the opportunity to meet love.
Così questa mattina,
This morning,
e mentre pulivo la grotta,
and while I was cleaning this cave,
la polvere per terra
the dust on the floor
mi diceva,
was telling me, Donato,
è bella la vita.
Life is beautiful.
Dentro la grotta
In the cave,
troverai il tuo respiro.
you'll find your breath.
E nella grotta
And in the cave,
troverai i tuoi sogni.
we'll find your dreams.
Quando dormiamo,
When we sleep,
costringiamo tutti i nostri angeli
we force all our angels
a dormire con noi.
to sleep with us.
Questa è la vittoria.
This is the victory.
Thanks. The first day we turn up at Fornello, and it's great. We go into the shepherd's house, and Tonio does his spiel, and he's really good at doing his spiel because he knows the place so well. So he tells us about it. He tells us we're going to be restoring the caves, that some of the caves were churches, some of them were used for housing or for keeping animals in. And that, you know, the plans for the different caves. One of the caves is going to be used to make cheese in. One of them eventually will be a dining room, all the rest of it. And then we get sent off, and basically it's like, okay, you guys go here, you guys go there.
Stiamo per ora facendo un lavoro di pulizia di quest'area perché abbiamo bisogno di creare uno strato che crei una impermeabilizzazione della grotta stessa, così da evitare i problemi di umidità che purtroppo stanno deteriorando gli affreschi giù nella grotta.
So if we don't stop this phenomenon, we cannot even restore the frescoes.
We're going to clear this. And you suspected there was a church on top. So if you're going to waterproof this, before you waterproof, should you not look for structural leaks on the top? So that you can fill it first and then waterproof.
Esatto. Sì, yeah, exactly what we do. Yeah. Esatto.
Il sito di per sé è un sito che io ero a conoscenza sin da quando ero ragazzino, che era un sito completamente abbandonato e nessuno sapeva effettivamente chi ne fosse il proprietario. Finalmente venimmo a conoscenza dei proprietari, francamente loro non sapevano neanche dell'esistenza degli affreschi nella cripta di Fornello.
It's really salty.
Yeah. And the line went higher. We uncovered more of the line here.
I can't see any of the red down here, can you? It's just
It's
it's
all
all
black.
lost. It's all gone. No, I mean like.
Oh, the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
It's gone. This is the lowest black here. Lowest line.
Okay, I think we should move a little bit around here, just in the niche. I was just working on my PhD on Georgian iconography, and I was fascinated by the cave paintings, which I saw in 2009 and 2011 in my expeditions there. So when I saw the paintings here in Puglia, I realized I have to do something to get involved. They told me that they don't offer scholarships, but considering my CV, I could conduct an iconography workshop here in Puglia in exchange of participating at the first restoration workshop. So I found it a great trade, and that's why I came here for the first time, and I was really fascinated about the work on the caves. Mary Magdalene has a very typical Byzantine type of morphology. Her eyes are big, they are staring at the viewer, and they're inviting to a direct conversation in prayer. She has a very small mouth. It's the typical drawing of the Byzantine icons with a very subtle smile. She has a very narrow nose, which points to the fact that she has very sharp senses. We think that this cave may be connected to two tombs, and the fact that she's present near the entrance of the cave is a sort of announcing the fact that the people who are buried here, they are prepared for the resurrection. Somehow it is very special. I can feel it as almost like a mission, which is close to my soul, because I feel very familiar to this type of painting, because it is part of my life. It is part of me as a painter, icon restorer. I think that I can get very rich spiritually by having the opportunity to be close to those paintings.
Il sito in questo ambiente rurale, così com'è, non può diventare un museo. L'unica maniera perché il sito possa continuare a essere preservato è quello di essere integrato con l'attività dei pastori dell'area.
Raffaele is the only one he still makes the rennet with the stomach of the lambs. He doesn't use other cultured or rennet that is made in labs. Quanti litri di latte sono, Raffaele? Quanti litri? Quanta litri lazza? It's 100 liters of milk. E quanto formaggio esce da un quintale? 20. Ah.
Fresco, dopo quando c'è ma quando siamo prendo un pezzo.
They go, they go. And he still uses the wood, not the gas for heating.
this part of the stomach, this is the fourth stomach of the lamb, has the rennet, the natural rennet in it. And so they let it dry for a couple months. Un paio di mesi ad asciugare.
Sì. Come mangi un latte della mamma? Con la pelle talmente acido che lo trasforma in formaggio. Poi si mette a bollire il succo.
And this part is the cheese here, inside.
No roba chimica, tutto naturale.
It's all natural, no chemical. Rafael is saying that unfortunately there's not so much cheese left because this is the season when most of the cheese is already sold. But there's still some here. It was when it was full, it had a different look. Originally, the cave ended here, and the skylight and also used for the aeration of the cave was here. This is the original. The original skylight.
E i tempi prima, centinaia e centinaia di anni passati, questa era una cucina. Cucina, dove si guardava là, dove era la, che era la, perché vestiment che stanno nude, quello mi spostate Roma.
100 years ago was used for cheese making.
E stanno un buco, con un trave, con un string, un modo, come tegni la cucina, così era da niente, a girare da latte. E ti imbandi che proprio quando era...
Right there was an inch where there was the post on which was hanged the container, the pot, the pot for heating the milk like he's doing now in the other room. Yeah.
Se quanta cristiana ne passa tanto.
Who knows how many people have been passed through this, been living in this cave and using this cave.
La grotta ci dà la possibilità di ritrovare la nostra solitudine. La grotta ci accoglie, ci permette di neutralizzare tutte le lotte che quotidianamente facciamo per comprenderci. La grotta è il viaggio iniziatico.
Sometimes I see people my age, they don't know the treasure that we got. If we're born here, there is a reason for it, so we should know much more. Knowing what's going on makes you feel alive, you know, connected with your roots, where the place where you are from. It's always easy to say Italy is not nice anymore, there are lots of problems, but we need to focus what the good, the beautiful things that we got. I appreciate that. In England, I moved 3 years ago and I'm studying renewable energy engineering in Cornwall at Exeter University because I want to be part of the solution. I don't, be passive. I would like to get involved.
Till now, we've been removing all this kind of feeling.
Tonio is a good friend of my father, and I always knew that he was doing this kind of project. He was also interested about my study, so how we can make energy in the site, in Fornello site, in a kind of sustainable way. Even building in dry stone wall just make me feel part of it. My work is there. I can actually see it. Makes you feel good. Yeah.
Gasoline.
My job's done.
You know what I was thinking about was like, do you think this was like a monastery or something, and this was like the main church? Because there are so many caves.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I was just imagine like a bunch of like candles lit in all of the little holes.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and then these little like
Yeah.
robes, like monks, like.
I think most people just think that we just sit here and in a week you just clean the whole thing and just like this beautiful thing and it's all looking brand new, but it's not really like that, is it? It's quite hard work, and it doesn't look like it, but it can get painful with your neck and your hand and your eyes. And it takes a very, very, very long time and a huge amount of patience. I think patience is key, because it can get dangerous as well.
Puglia becomes, or the region, the area, becomes beautiful through participation. It's a beauty you find through participating. You have to seek the beauty. Everything there is a little bit hidden. You told me of your grandfather teaching you harvesting with using the horse, the trebuchet. The
Trebbiatura.
Trebbiatura. And so I did a painting of that, and that's actually how our son got his name, August, because he said, all I need is the horse in the month of August to show you how I used to do it with my grandfather.
There's something strange about it. When you go to Italy, all the colours are richer and brighter and saturated. Even when you're in the cave, the colours are very rich. You're amazed that they could last as long as they have.
095.
Sorry, what was that?
68. This is the second concession of the Fornello project, and we are trying to go to a second stage, which means that we are mapping the layers. Mapping the layers means virtually separating the layers to have a better understanding on the eras from where they come from. We have the 3 layers in the apse, and now Lillian and I, we are trying to correlate the existing image. It's
239?
210, something like that, 210, 215.
When you first see them, you really don't know what you're looking at. And somebody like Philippe is saying, and here you can see, and here you can see, and you think, what? I can't see a damn thing. And it takes a while before you train your eye and you can see, and then after about a week you think, God damn, that really is a guy up there. And I can actually see he's got some sort of a halo or something, and he's holding something in his hand. And so it takes a while for you to get to see it. It's like you have to gain a kind of a literacy in the language of frescoes. And there's also something really amazing about the fact that they're all in caves. So it feels more human somehow than being in a big cathedral. You can actually imagine people being in there and painting the frescoes on the walls.
In the 1200s, we have monks escaping persecution in the Balkans that come to southern Italy, and their legacy is a variety of absolutely spectacular cave churches and frescoes. We then continue to have shepherds using that landscape, reoccupying the caves that had been imagined as a church for monks and then reused for sheep.
400.
400, però non qui adesso.
Su.
Sono tutti qua.
Sì. Poi si devono aprire qua, quando lo facciano la strada. Oh. No! Oh. Dalle!
Guarda come ti ascoltano.
Il cane.
Sembra il cane che ti aiuta.
Oh. Uè.
Cosa c'hanno agli orecchi?
Quelle sono le marche auricolari per vedere. Ogni 6 mesi vengono tirate il sangue. Fanno gli esami del sangue. Ehi, ehi, uè. Oi, oh, Dora. Oh.
Questa terra qui con queste olive, chi è il padrone?
Di Gravina.
Di Gravina? Allora la terra è pubblica?
No, è privata. Ma entrando gli animali nel terreno fanno la cacca è concime biologico. Invece loro non vogliono.
Ci sono tanti nella mia nazione che vorrei fare un lavoro così in campagna, tranquillo.
Qui non lo vuole fare più nessuno. Già gli animali li stanno ammazzando tutti.
Sì. Peccato secondo te?
Secondo me è peccato perché vogliono fare arrivare il latte in polvere dalla Francia.
E qui c'è il latte che avete voi già. Strano, no?
Io dico che la produzione nostra è sempre migliore.
Quanti anni che fai questo lavoro tu?
Io sono da 7 anni.
Da 7 anni?
Adesso ne ho 48.
Sì?
Sono 41 anni. Non ho fatto neanche la scuola. Da piccolino diciamo, siamo nati qua in campagna e già da piccoli di padre in padre.
E avete i grotti anche voi? Proprio sulla vostra...
Sì.
Li ha usate le grotte?
Diciamo prima sì, ma adesso...
Per asciugare il formaggio, per esempio?
Un formaggio, prima si mettevano gli animali. Ci sono delle grotte. Se passate qualche giorno...
Once my teacher in England, he asked me, when 25 years ago I went for my, after my wedding, I went to south of Italy and then I saw the shepherd with the sheep around. They're still there, so of course they're still there. They always have been there. It's a tradition, everyone has got a tradition, and our own tradition is the shepherd is the oldest, let's say, job ever. Is the oldest one. So it would be a shame if we will have any more shepherd. It would be a really big shame. We will lose a really big part of our history, our heritage.
Shepherding has been very important in southern Italy, and actually by extension across much of southern Europe for a very long time. Important for dairy products, for meat, and for wool. And in 1442, the King of Naples makes a decree protecting the royal shepherd's paths, which in southern Italy are called the tratturi. They were decreed to be 112 meters wide, and they created a web of paths, 3,000 kilometers, that create this amazing network across the landscape. And the They were so important that if there was any encroachment, so a farmer that starts to encroach on that landscape with the boundaries of their field, the penalty was death.
La grotta è la possibilità che noi abbiamo di ritornare nell'utero materno. Dall'utero delle mamme nasciamo tutti uguali, cantava il poeta. E entrare nella grotta significa andare a neutralizzarci, a diventare essenza primordiale, quindi morte e quindi vita.
The cave is the mother. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the sea is also like a mother. It's a different kind of mother. The sea is a mother whose mood changes all the time. Sometimes she can be calm. Sometimes she can be really sexy. It's like she's sort of got this sort of come hither feel to her. And then sometimes she's just like pissed off and she doesn't give a shit about you at all. But the cave is that perfect mother that you always wished you had. That mother who was always there and always kind and loving and always a place of refuge.
When I came to this river just now, so I need to take water and do it like this because I lost two of my brothers in this water and also with some of my friends, and our boat gets sink and we just have to swim, and the helicopter came and gave us parachute. So if you have been able to grab it, you have survived. So if you have not been able to grab it, it's very difficult now. There's no sea from Nigeria to here. It's from Libya. We use the desert and walk, motor. There's no mechanic, nobody. It's just God. I spent about 2 weeks in the desert with only water. When you're passing through desert, you will know that there is God. When I get to Libya, they kidnap us and they're like beating us, putting phone on our hand to call our people. The shooters are beating us. They are shooting beside our legs, threatening us that they will kill us if we don't bring money. When we came to Italy, there is no work. The government put us in the camp. They were taking care of us to go to school, to learn Italy. So we just have to move on, and the work we do here is begging.
He came to Puglia 1 year ago on a boat, like many, many others, and continuously people from North Africa and Africa in general, they cross the Mediterranean, they land in Sicily or Puglia and in search of new life, in search of a new future. And then I say, where are you from and what are you doing here? He said, I'm from Nigeria. And he said, I came in for a job. And I said, but here there's no job. Italy doesn't have jobs to offer.
And he took me to a cafe bar and bought ice cream for me and sat me down. I was very surprised because it's difficult to find somebody that speaks English here in Italy. Even they speak English, they pretend not to. So I met Antonio. Antonio was asking me what brought you. I told him everything, and he was asking me what kind of thing that I can do. I said the only thing I want him to do for me is to kind of like put me on the team where I will play and bring up my professional that I am. And he asked me that if he have the opportunity, he would have do that, but he wants me to work with him. It's a short project, and he asked me if I can do this kind of job, I say anything because I have no job. Anything, I can do it.
La grotta è il cuore della terra, che ci insegna ad essere accoglienti nei nostri confronti, in quanto stranieri sulla terra. Nous sommes tous des étrangers.
I love Matera. I like it because it's an ancient city. There's a lot of culture here, but I'm afraid that the people are too close, you know, the Materan people. They're too involved with money, and it's not a good way, you know, for me. But anyway, you can see the scenery is beautiful. This is Via Casanova. Hello. I know most people in the city, yeah. Some are friendly, some are unfriendly. You know, I think you'll find that in most parts of the world. Anyway, when I first came here 6 years ago, all this didn't exist. It was very old, you see, they make it all like new, but it's not new. It's an ancient city. They're not going to ever change this city. I don't think they could. I'm going to show you the best part where I live. It's very beautiful. It's very nice down here also. There's more, you can see the whole area. It's all been abandoned. I slept a long time in the street here in Matera. And then I had another cave, which was much older. It was a different place and it fell down. All the roof fell in. And I found another place. This is my place here. Hey, don't expect miracles. I'm not a very tidy person. But it's my place and I love my place. And I love to meet people. I like good people. They told me the history they tell you, and no one seems to know really the true story. They said this old city was abandoned. I believe maybe they killed everyone. I don't know.
Or they moved into
Well,
apartments that
I
were
don't
covered up.
believe that the people abandoned the old city. Everyone. I'm very suspect that maybe something very bad happened here. I'm suspect, but I'm not sure. I cannot be sure about anything. I don't know the history.
Going from the plateau of the Morgia Formation all the way to the Ionian Sea, there are many other towns like La Terza, Ginosa, Castellaneta, Palagiano, Massafra, Mottola, all of these, Gravina as well. All of these are cave-dwelling settlements. What makes Matera very unique is the scale.
Matera dates back over 9,000 years as one of the oldest continuously occupied settlements in the world. And the story of Matera is one of great sadness, I think, in many respects. A tourist walking through Matera is quite isolated from an awful lot of that recent history and cave culture.
La città dei Sassi, quando l'Italia esce dal dopoguerra, balza all'attenzione dell'opinione pubblica come un esempio, il più estremo esempio di povertà nel sud Italia. Povertà da un punto di vista di servizi igienici, povertà da un punto di vista economico.
The focus of attention becomes Matera as this tremendous national embarrassment. squalor and unhygienic conditions that are leading to cholera and malaria. So after World War II, we have the infusion of reconstruction dollars.
E siccome il sistema dei sassi, il sistema delle grotte è molto complesso da un punto di vista urbano, l'abbandono di queste abitazioni va necessariamente a interferire o a danneggiare le altre abitazioni circostanti. E oggi si ritorna, diciamo, a frequentare il posto e le grotte e tutte le infrastrutture all'interno della parte storica della città come con una sorta di rievocazione di civiltà che è ormai scomparsa.
We met Joseph. He's from England. He's living in one of these abandoned caves, but I believe it is more authentic that using the site as a touristic place. He was saying that the government didn't save the population, didn't save the culture, and I totally agree with that. Artists are considered valuable when they die, or saints. They become, the miracles start to become famous after they die, not when they are in life. So in Matera, the rupestral settlement was not considered valuable only because there was no other way, there was not a creative way how to bring back to life and to fix what was wrong with the hygienic condition.
Che cosa sarebbe successo invece se lo Stato o l'opinione pubblica o gli intellettuali dell'epoca avessero invece pensato di risolvere i problemi di vivibilità conservando quel sistema, quindi creando una sorta di continuità nel tempo?
Sto? Sì, sto. Verrà una tanta bella ricotta. Smell good.
La civiltà è nata nelle grotte, è cresciuta, è legata alle grotte per una serie infinita di motivi ed è bello che comunque la stiano recuperando. Ci dovremmo vergognare noi del posto perché lo lasciamo fare agli stranieri, però da un altro punto di vista è giusto pure che sia così, perché penso che alla fine noi abbiamo tanto da dare all'estero, a livello di cultura, a livello di paesaggio, a livello di storia.
Devi farlo passare se qualcuno vuole entrare. Ok, io dico che ci siamo. Certo, andrebbe rotto meglio. Ok, if someone that's going to separate from the wave, it's broken. See, enough. I think 1.5. Okay. What do you think? Because inside it's not so much.
Not so much.
Mm-mm.
Do you have to fill it all the way up?
It's not just about the archaeology, it's about taking and reusing these spaces, saving them, restoring them, and then making them something functional. And something that I think that the local people would also embrace. So instead of turning it into a boutique hotel, he's turning it into something that I think that the local people, the local shepherds could actually relate to, and that would sort of bring them and perhaps even give them some prosperity instead of, you know, this typical model of kind of foreigners coming in, doing something, and then kind of leaving. I think he wants to leave better traces.
Some of the people that come to the caves are archaeologists.
What do archaeologists do?
They look for bones. The other day they discovered a new cave. They walked past my cave and then they saw a tiny door and then they found it.
Not a lot of people actually know that humans were here, probably even earlier than Neanderthals, right? So this part of southern Italy has been the nexus of human occupation for tens of thousands of years, if not hundreds of thousands of years. There were local inhabitants who lived on the hilltops, and then of course as the Romans grew and expanded, they took over a huge amount of this area and have left their traces. But of course then they had their time period, and in the 5th and 6th centuries they kind of faded out, but people still remained, and so you get these traces like these churches that are 6 or 7 centuries later, and people were still here and people were still using the land and occupying the land. And so there's this huge arc of occupation. And so I think that's, especially for anybody who's interested in human history, that's just endlessly kind of fascinating, because you can choose your time period and come here and find it. There's definitely material that is early. This is actually probably Iron Age stuff. This really thick, grotty stuff. This is probably later stuff. Hard to tell what time. And then there's some even more recent stuff. So it's, when you find stuff on the surface like this, it's highly suggestive that there's something underneath. The question is it a graveyard? We don't know. We'd have to do test trenches to sort of see. But probably that there's something here. There's some cool pottery here, Tonio.
Yes, it is. A little different than what we find in front of the cave.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this, I think, is pasta-y kind of strange stuff. Yeah, the really thick stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's nice.
But there's also this. Let me show. There's also this video.
Oh, yes, yes.
And this is 3rd century, you see.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
Sigillata.
Yeah.
Right?
Fine work, yeah. I met Tonio about 25 years ago when we were both students, and we were both working with Alistair Small on Botromagno, and it's an Iron Age and early Roman site located just outside of Gravina.
Last time when we were here, we found the Lumway, remember?
Yeah.
The other portion over there.
Yeah.
It seems to me that it's also
Can you come
the right spot where to set the graveyard.
I guess we'd have to find out, where did people from the 3rd century, would they have put them out open in a flat space?
Yeah.
Yeah? We could try. Worst thing that could happen is we dig a hole and there's not much in it, right? That's happened before.
Yeah.
It would be great for us to collaborate. I would love to do that kind of thing. And again, as an anthropologist, I'm interested in really the human aspect of it, who these people were and what their lives were like.
This is the little guy I was talking about before. Here, goes here, all the way here, and then turns somehow. Here it stops. This is the print of the skin, see? The wrinkle of the skin. Yeah, and these are the toes, 1, 2, 3. And this part is the part that's been sucked because of the movement while walking.
Io faccio parte di un gruppo di speleologi. Nel corso delle nostre ricerche abbiamo trovato una nuova grotta. Siamo stati i primi ad entrare in questa grotta dopo migliaia di anni. In realtà il primo ad entrare è stato appunto questo uomo di Neanderthal, il quale però non è potuto più uscire perché è rimasto in grotta. Si tratta di uno scheletro intero, cosa unica al mondo, e di quell'epoca di scheletri interi si conosce solo questo uomo di Altamura. Lo scheletro è ancora nella grotta perché è tutto ricoperto di concrezioni calcaree, di calcite appunto, che lo tengono saldamente legato alla roccia. Purtroppo gli studi che vengono fatti, che vengono concessi, vengono dati molto a rilento e quindi a me dispiace perché la grotta, essendo stata chiusa per migliaia e migliaia di anni, è rimasta, diciamo, contiene tante informazioni che si possono ricavare.
We knew what was going to be a long process, the restoration of the frescoes and in the underground church of Fornello. But we also knew that we needed to start with the right process, with the right step. I have the feeling that we are putting the puzzle together and we have a better idea of how to proceed. So what Philip has been doing in this session, with the help of everyone, is rewriting the history, and will lead, as I said before, to a very good plan for the conservation of the frescoes. So I will give a big applause to Philip and to all of us involved in this project.
I didn't see the local support. I didn't see a lot of people local coming to visit the site, which I would have assumed. I heard more about them, and then after, when I lived there longer, I saw what kind of things he would have to encounter on a daily basis. They weren't rejecting him, they just didn't see how it was possible to do what he wanted to do.
Sento molto dire una parola che francamente a me non fa un buon effetto. Purtroppo di vivere in un determinato contesto sociale, con una determinata crisi economica, quindi c'è una sorta di rassegnazione. Invece dal passato sento che viene un messaggio forte di dedizione e di affidarsi al territorio, affidarsi a quello che la terra offre.
My tattoo is an olive tree, and the olive tree represents the place where I'm from, my land, the Murgia. And connected to this tree, there are solid roots. On top of this tree, there are 15 leaves, and each leaves represent a person who have reached my life, my family, and my blood family. and also the family that have been built in throughout my life. I hope at the end of my life there will be full tree, full of leaves, really green.
Pascolare significa arricchire la terra di nutrimento ed essere da essa nutrita. E quindi il pastore si preoccupa se nel suo gregge c'è empatia.
Being part of the Fornello project was amazing because the transformation from last year, because I was here for the art restoration, so it was before last year's Fornello project. So I think we spent one day at Fornello, if that.
2 hours.
So 2 hours. Okay, so that's all I saw of it. And you know what it's like when you first go in and someone's saying, oh, and here we can see an icon of, and you're saying, what? What? I don't see that. And so this was fantastic. The transformation, the amount that we've done in just 12 days is awesome. When we went back into the crypt today with Philippe, I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow, this is a different place, completely different place.
It's like a family. It's like what Andrea was saying. It's like it's a community, and that's why I come back. I loved the work. That was so satisfying. So satisfying. And then the first day with Paul, like, and opening up the cave, and then it was like completely, when we started, it was like, you could barely get in. And then by the end of the day, and Teresa as well. And I was like, oh, I can actually see the entrance now. I just feel like I know everyone here for years. And it's kind of crazy because I've only known them for 12 days. Yeah, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to say goodbye tomorrow. Here she goes.
I know there's a future for the project because I can see from what everyone's saying and the kind of people it attracts. I think it will continue to attract that kind of people who are here for not a short-term, immediate, help me out because I'm not good at recalling my words, what's in it for me type situation. This project would never work for that kind of person. I think, and even if you are that way, in a very short time through work, that starts to heal away from you, and you're not doing. Pardon? Well, I already said that in the other one. You know, but you haven't said it to these guys. But I did just say it because you guys are the heroes of the project. I mean, it's your fault. You're the heroes of the project, and that's why it'll be successful because there's people like you.
Sandy? Eugene?
Not an easy thing to have an opportunity like this before because I still have so many of my friends from Nigeria in camp now. They haven't seen the opportunity to be with different people from Canada, US, and all that. And I really want to thank everybody who have talked with me, laughed with me, and also with my 2 babies in Nigeria. I'm not married, but I have 2 kids in Nigeria, so it is so wonderful and so kind for me. I really want to appreciate that. Many people died. My brother died. They didn't see the opportunity to see today. And I'm very glad and I'm very happy because each day when I wake up, I pray to God that is the God of tomorrow, the God of today, and the God of forever. My name is Sunday. My name is Sunday.
It's not just the 2 of us. It's just like, everyone.
Everybody. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
We'll send you an email. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
I'll be back next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I promise.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we all will.
Yeah.
Thank
you so much for being involved.
Let's get some more idealists and let's get some more projects that are run by idealists because there's not enough idealism in the world.
August likes to
Buon viaggio.
Grazie, grazie. Molto lavoro, I don't know. Have a good work and keep enthusiasm high. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. See you soon then. Ciao, ciao. I will leave. I will leave now. Ciao, ciao. Grazie. Grazie per tutti.
Grazie a te.
And I wish you a lot of success and I hope that you accomplish a lot of good work. And Grazie. Ciao. Every departure has a note of sadness, but at the same time, you feel an accomplishment. You feel that you accomplished something, that you have some results, and not only that, that you have a lot of friends in all over the world. So I think that this experience will continue in one or the other way.
Can you do some work for the camp? Huh? Can you do some work for the camp? Work for the camp? There is no work for the camp. No way? Plant vegetables there. Lots of vegetables there. Instead of buying the vegetable, invest in buying food. You guys can cultivate the garden there. How many people are now at the camp?
Can't count now. They are coming and going, coming and going.
See, all these olive trees are all abandoned here. Here, all abandoned. The almond trees. Nobody's taking care of them.
Are they free?
No, it's not free. You have to contact the owner and say how we'll help you to run your land. That's it. You give them 10 liters of olive oil, 50 liters, whatever, and the rest is yours. In November, if you have a job, it's good. It's good for you. If not, I'll teach you how to harvest the olives. I think there's a future. Esistono spazi per essere attraversati, esistono spazi per essere coltivati. Siamo tutti alla ricerca della nostra anima. Il giorno che incontreremo la nostra anima, noi siamo una parte infinitesimale del cosmo. Siamo costellazioni, siamo stelle, siamo animali, siamo pietre. Siamo l'insieme di tutto ciò che anima il corpo celeste. Questo è l'uomo e questo è il viaggio che l'uomo deve fare nel suo esodo, nel suo errare, trovando conforto proprio nella grotta, quindi nell'utero, quindi nel ventre materno di nostra madre terra. Terra, che mi sotterrò.
bella